Welcome to the Intro Concepts Interactive Practice. Good to see you, and I hope you had a good time working through this worksheet. After you studied your notes for the key terms and reviewed the bell works, make sure that you were comfortable with the things that we talked about. Okay, if you found that it was pretty easy to answer these questions after you studied your notes thoroughly, then that's awesome. You're probably in pretty good shape for the quiz. Because remember, the quiz could cover everything that we talked about, not just the things that are on this practice sheet, okay? So if you only study the stuff that's on the practice sheet, make sure that you're studying everything else too. All right, let's talk about it. Okay, so Ralph likes fishing and doing photography, and he starts liking photography more than he did before. So how does his opportunity cost of taking photographs change? Explain. Okay, so pause this video if you need to answer the question. Okay, so the benefits of doing photography increases for him, okay? And we review the definition of opportunity cost, right? Because the question's asking about opportunity cost. We say, all right, opportunity cost, missed benefits of the second best option. Okay, so if we're talking about doing photography, his opportunity cost is the missed enjoyment of going fishing, okay? So if the benefit of doing photography increases, does that change the missed benefit of going fishing? It doesn't, right? Fishing is still just as fun to him as before, right? There's nothing about the fishing changing, okay? So the opportunity cost of taking pictures does not change in this case, okay? Because he still feels the same about going fishing. Okay, number 2. Which factor of production is the person playing video games for the process of poning noobs? Okay, so this is a person doing efforts, right? So person is the labor resource in this production process. Okay, so we can describe anything as a production process, even something as silly as like beating in a video game, right? Winning in a video game. Okay, number 3, for the production of ears of corn. What factor of production is each of these, if at all? Soil. Okay, so pause this video if you need to go through these. Okay, soil. We could describe that as a land resource, a gift of nature. Okay, fertilizer. Okay, good. It is not one of the factors of production. Okay, it's not land, it's not labor, it's not capital, it's not entrepreneurship. It's an intermediate good, right? It's a thing that's made that goes into producing other things, in this case, corn. Okay, the farm owner. Okay, so that's the entrepreneur resource, right? Takes the risk on an idea. The farm worker's strength. Okay, so if it was the farm workers, that would be which resource? Labor, exactly, right? But it's the farm workers' strength, right? Which is their ability that helps them do their job. Okay, so the farm worker's strength is human capital. Good, human capital. Okay, so the workers using their skills and abilities is the labor resource, but the workers' skills and abilities is their human capital. Okay. All right, the plow. Okay, so plow is a tool, so this is capital. And the sunlight is a gift of nature, so land. All right, cool. Number 4. So Nora starts a business advising other businesses. Okay, so we need to figure out what her money costs are and what her opportunity costs are. Okay, so we're going to go through the story and sort them into money costs and opportunity costs. This is number 4, right, Nora? Yeah, okay. So we need money costs and opportunity costs. Okay, so money costs are when she has to pay for things. And opportunity costs, we remember, are missed benefits of things she decides to do, right? So let's take a look. Okay, just make sure it's still going. All right, so we see that if she runs her business, then she uses a room in her house as her office. But if she wasn't running the business, she'd be able to rent out that room for $700 a month, okay? So is that $700 money she has to pay, or is it an opportunity cost, a missed benefit? Yeah, it's an opportunity cost, okay? So she misses out on those $700 by using this room for her business and not renting out this room, okay? So that's an opportunity cost, okay? Then she pays $500 for a computer program, okay? Is that a money cost or an opportunity cost, a missed benefit? Yeah, it's a money cost. Okay, because she pays that $500. So the $500 does have an opportunity cost, right? She could have spent that money on something else, But if it was the opportunity cost, we would describe it as the thing she didn't spend the money on. Okay, but now we're just saying this is the money she spent, that's a money cost. Okay, but it has an opportunity cost, but it is a money cost. Okay, then she takes $2,000 out of her savings account to pay for other things to start her business. Okay, so money cost or opportunity cost? It is also a money cost. Okay, she spends this money, right? The money has an opportunity cost. She could have used it for something else, but this is a money cost. Okay, if it described that she would have spent the $2,000 on something else, then that would be the opportunity cost. Okay, all right, and then the bank would have paid her $30 of interest per month if she'd left that money in the bank instead of using it to start her business. Okay, so the $30 of interest that she doesn't make because she used this money instead of leaving it in the bank is a money cost or an opportunity cost? Yeah, it's an opportunity cost. She misses out on these $30 a month by using that money instead of leaving it in the bank. Okay, right, because the bank pays her to save her money. All right, she would have made $3,000 a month at her old job if she hadn't left to start her own company. Okay, so is that a money cost or an opportunity cost? She would have made $3,000 at her old job. That's an opportunity cost, right? By choosing to do this job, right, run her business, she's missing out on the money she would have made at her old job. Okay, good. All right, great. So we don't know anything about Nora's revenue, how much money she's making. We can't say if this is a great decision or not, but now we can sort these into two categories to help us understand the different costs that she faces. All right, cool. Number 5, production possibilities curve for Alpakistan. Okay, so remember, for a country's production possibilities curve, we always have two goods on the axis, right? But for a country's PPC, we can always use the same ones, right? We can use capital goods and consumer goods. Capital goods, right? The tools, factories, military goods, okay, and then consumer goods. Okay, it does not matter which axis you put them on. Doesn't matter if you put consumer goods here or consumer goods here, capital goods here or capital goods there. Doesn't matter. Okay, then we title it Alpakistan. You might do that first so you don't forget. It's important. Okay, and this is going to be a curve line PPF. Okay, because capital goods and consumer goods use different resources. So as you switch between capital goods and consumer goods, you're going to start by converting the easy to convert resources first. Then it's going to get more and more expensive, right? The opportunity cost is going to increase to convert them. Okay. All right, so they're producing mostly consumer goods. So we're going to put a dot on the production possibilities curve showing them producing mostly consumer goods, label it point A. Okay. Then we're going to show the change if consumers in Pakistan start demanding more goods and services. So some companies switch, sorry, I missed the rest of that sentence, but they switch from making capital goods to making more consumer goods. Okay. So in this new point, they're going to make less capital goods, more consumer goods. All right. So we're going to switch from point A to the new point. And we draw an arrow to show the change. Okay, so your new point could be anywhere closer to the consumer goods axis than your original point A. All right, then why did those companies switch their production? Okay, why did the companies switch their production from making this amount of capital goods, this amount of consumer goods, to making more consumer goods and less capital goods? Okay, and remember, we can't say because that's what people wanted, right? How does the company know what people want? The prices, okay? The price of consumer goods rises if customers are demanding those more. And so the producers will see that higher price and they'll say, wow, I was making some capital goods, but now, wow, it looks like I could make a lot of money making consumer goods. I'm gonna switch my factory if I can from making capital goods to making consumer goods, and then I'll make more money, right? Which is great because then the consumers get what they wanted, right? They were able to send the message, we want consumer goods, make those for us. And the companies follow that message from the signal that the prices send. Okay, so prices are super important. Cool, all right. Then part C, if Pakistan starts producing more capital goods, how will its future ability to produce change? Okay, so if they're currently producing more capital goods, which is different than what we see in this scenario, but if they had produced more capital goods, right, that means they're producing more machinery, more tools, more transportation systems, right? How does that affect their ability to produce in the future? Yeah, it would go up, right? Because remember we talked about how capital makes the workers more productive. So if you're building up more capital, then in the future you're going to be able to produce more goods and services, right? And so that's how you get the PBF curve shifting, or sorry, PBC curve shifting out, right? Which we saw before as economic growth. Okay, cool. Then part 6. All right, so the production possibilities curve for farm and things. All right, so combinations of goods that are efficient, okay? And we're going to write them in the format of number of beans, comma, number of corn. Okay, so every point that is efficient is a point that's on the production possibilities curve. Okay, and every point on the production possibilities curve is an efficient point. Okay, so we want the efficient one. So we notice that E, D, and A are both on the line. Okay, so the first combination that is efficient is 27 beans and 4 corns, okay, which is from point E, okay? Then we have 18 beans, 27 corns, okay, which is point D, and then 9 beans, 10 corn, point A. And all of these points are equally efficient, right? We have no idea which of these points is better than any other because every point on the line is equally efficient. So again, that's E, D, and A, right? And these are the production combinations at those quantities. Okay, then part B, the not efficient combinations, okay? So we notice that point B is outside the production possibilities curve. What do we know about points outside the curve? Yeah, they're either impossible or they're unsustainable. Okay, so B is not an efficient combination, so that's 24 beans and 9 corns. Okay, from point B. And then point C is also not efficient because points inside the line are not a full use of resources. Okay, they're inefficient, they're not a full use of resources. So point C is 12 beans, 5 corn, right? They could do better, right? They could produce more of both goods sustainably. So point C is not a great point to produce. Okay, then what's the opportunity cost of making 3 more units of corn if this company moves from producing at point D to point A? Okay, so we notice point D and point A are both on the production possibilities curve, so they're both full and sustainable uses of the resources. But it might be that for whatever reason, Farm and Things wants to produce more corn than it did before, and they can do that, right? They can switch and make 3 extra ears of corn, but they can only do that by giving up beans, right? So the opportunity cost of making these extra 3 ears of corn is the number of beans they have to give up, okay? So we notice as they gain 3 more corns, right, moving from D to A, at D, 18 beans are being produced, and at A, 9 beans are produced, okay? So this is for part D. Oh, sorry, part C. Okay. 18 corn minus 9, no, sorry, 18 beans minus 9 beans equals 9 beans as the opportunity cost, okay? So we lost 9 beans in order to grow 3 corns, okay? So that's the opportunity cost. All right, why is ceteris paribus important for thinking about this statement? Ceteris paribus, as a person puts more effort into understanding economics concepts, he or she will do better in economics class. Okay, so we review the definition in our mind because we have it memorized, right? Ceteris paribus, all other things equal, okay? So all other things equal, as a person puts more effort into the class, they will do better. Sorry, yes, they put more effort, they'll do better, okay? So ceteris paribus there is important, okay? Because there are a lot of other things that can happen that can affect how much a person learns in a class, okay? But it is true that the amount of effort a person puts in has a difference in, makes a difference in how much they learn in a class, okay? So even though some people might be faster at learning new things than other people, right? Or some people might have an easier time understanding graphs than other people, right? Every person can benefit from studying more, right? So all other things equal, right? No matter what's going on with other things, as a person studies more, they're gonna get more understanding, okay? right? So all of the things being equal. Okay. Number 8, so why does trading make both people better off? Okay, explain with the jelly beans. Right, so both people get something that they wanted more than what they gave up. Okay, so on the jelly bean preference ranking, both people moved up their preference rankings. They gave up a bean they liked less to get a bean that they liked more. Okay, so they're both trading for good they like more than the one they're giving up, which is how trade creates wealth. All right, why is food scarce? Okay, so remember, scarce means that it's limited and wanted, okay? And everything, basically everything, is scarce, okay? Even though your fridge might be full of food, food is scarce, okay? And that's because it takes effort to make more food, and so all of that effort that goes to making more food cannot go to making something else, okay? So the food is limited, okay? And the food is useful, so it's wanted, okay? So scarce means it's limited, it takes effort to get more of it, and those resources then can't be used to make something else. And it's wanted, right? People find it useful. So that is why food is scarce. Okay, even though it's abundant, it's also scarce. Okay. What do Mises think about central planning? Okay, so review your Mises notes and practice summarizing them in maybe 2 sentences. Mises's ideas about central planning, very important. Okay, Adam Smith about markets, so review your notes on the invisible hand and about Adam Smith. And practice summarizing that in a sentence or 2. Okay, you can send me a message if you want me to check your Mises or Smith answers. Okay, then 2 eyes in this scenario, right? So Lorenzo buying tomato sauce, okay? So for information, Lorenzo reads the labels, right? And that's how he gets information about the things that he's interested in knowing about those sauces. And his incentive is to find the tastiest low-sodium pasta sauce, okay? So that's what motivates him to go to the grocery store, right? He wants to find the tastiest low-sodium sauce, okay? Right, so those are the information and the incentives. All right, then last one, BlackRock and DeYoung's boba and lattes, okay? So first we want to know about comparative advantage, okay? So we remember in our minds what comparative advantage is. Right, so say the definition. Yeah, when one person has a lower opportunity cost than someone else for an action, okay? So lower opportunity cost for the action. Okay, so we see that when we look at lattes, which is the first thing we want to know about, the opportunity cost ratios for those 2 goods, right, for BlackRock and DeYoung's, right? So we have BlackRock, DeYoung's. Okay, we have lattes and boba. Okay, so first you have the number of each that they're producing. So BlackRock can make 100 lattes, DeYoung can make 120 lattes, while BlackRock could make 60 bobas or DeYoung's can make 80 bobas. Okay, and then I gave you the opportunity cost per thing that they produce, which you do need to solve this problem, but I'll always give it to you if you need it. So we see that for BlackRock, it's 0.6, and then 0.67 for DeYoung's, and 1.67, and then 1.5. Okay, so remember, right, just like we did for Devin and Piper, you're gonna remember what these mean, right? So go ahead and say to yourself what it means for every. Pause the video if you need more time. For every latte that BlackRock makes, they give up 0.6 boba teas. Okay? All right, so BlackRock gives up 0.6 bobas for every latte. DeYoung's gives up 0.67 bobas for every latte. Okay, so BlackRock has a lower opportunity cost for producing a latte than DeYoung's does. Okay? And for the boba tea, DeYoung's gives up less lattes to make a boba tea than BlackRock does. So DeYoung's has the comparative advantage in producing the boba teas. Okay, so A is producing lattes, BlackRock, producing boba teas, DeYoung's, and right, so make sure you explain with the numbers, right? So BlackRock has a comparative advantage in producing lattes because it only has to give up 0.6 boba teas to make a latte, right? Or BlackRock has the comparative advantage in producing lattes because they have a opportunity cost of 0.6, while DeYoung's has an opportunity cost of 0.67. Okay. So always a good idea to justify with the numbers to really convince me that you know what you're talking about. Okay, absolute advantage in producing lattes. So remember what absolute advantage is? Go ahead and say it. Yeah, being better at producing something than someone else. Okay, so we're just gonna look at the numbers that they can produce, and we're gonna say, all right, for lattes, who's better at making lattes? DeYoung's, right? They make more than BlackRock does. Okay, and then boba teas, who's better at making boba teas? Yeah, DeYoung's. They can make more than BlackRock can. Okay, so sometimes they'll have different absolute advantages, like you could have, one be producing more lattes and the other producing more boba teas. But it's also possible that one's just better at producing both, like in the Devon and Piper example. Okay, so if you have any more questions, you can come to tutoring Tuesdays and Thursdays after school. You can ask questions in class, you can send me a message, and we'll work through it. But you guys are awesome, keep up the great work, and I'll see you in class. Bye!